We've already seen some interesting endorsements come out of this mayoral race in the Big Apple. And the latest one is for disgraced former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo by seasoned businessman and former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who announced his support for Cuomo on Tuesday. Supposedly, this was an endorsement that was heavily sought after by many Democrat candidates. Now, in a statement Bloomberg released on his X account, he wrote about this in part, quote, "I care deeply about the future of our city, and since leaving office, it has been difficult to watch its struggles, especially since the pandemic. In sizing up the field in the race for mayor, there is one candidate whose management experience and government know-how stand above the others, Andrew Cuomo," end quote. That endorsement came as a surprise to some, as the two have had a strained relationship in the past. But Bloomberg has historically supported Democrats. And just last year, he gave $20 million and $50 million to Joe Biden's and then Kamala Harris's doomed presidential campaigns. Now, Bloomberg didn't clarify if he would join Cuomo on the campaign trail, but some expect him to contribute to a group that's allied with Cuomo. And one political science professor and former advisor to Bloomberg said that she believes his endorsement could sway many moderate voters out there who may have been on the fence about him, as many moderate voters remember Bloomberg's time in office fondly. However, Bloomberg also endorsed current New York City Mayor Eric Adams back in 2021, and Adams' current standing may turn some off from Bloomberg's endorsement. Now, Cuomo has reportedly been leading in the polls, but recently the gap has been closing between him and self-admitted Democratic socialist Zohran Mamdani, who was recently endorsed by AOC, as we've discussed. Now, the final candidate debate is on Thursday, and only time will tell how far Cuomo will actually get with Bloomberg's endorsement. Here with reaction is Libby Emmons, the editor-in-chief of the Post-Millennial. Libby, thank you for being here.
Thanks so much, Riley.
So, as a former New Yorker and New Yorker at heart, I want to start by asking you this. Are the people of the Big Apple ready to trust in Cuomo again?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, way more than they are Zohran Mamdani, who is a crazy socialist who wants to socialize grocery stores and apartment buildings and make buses free and crack down on so-called corporate corruption and completely drive out the entire wealthy tax base of the city. The reason Michael Bloomberg worked for the city, the reason he did such a good job is because he pumped money into Manhattan. He pumped money into, all of the amenities that make the wealthy happy. And then all of the wealthy money spilled out into the rest of the boroughs. And he was able to make programs to build parks. He was able to make programs to bring affordable housing to the outer boroughs. And so the paradise for the wealthy existed in Manhattan, and the rest of us were having a jolly time in the outer boroughs with clean, safe streets and good parks and great places for our kids to hang out.
Very interesting. So then I want to ask you as well, I'm guessing you saw that ad that Mamdani put out in Hindi. I just want to ask, what is that?
Yeah, so there's a large Hindi-speaking population in New York City for sure, but there's also, I think, like over 100 languages spoken in New York City alone. And it's really important that, all of those people get out and vote for someone who is not a crazed socialist who wants to completely destroy the city. And so I hope that anyone who speaks Hindi instead of English saw this ad and said, wait a second, I don't want city-run grocery stores with localized warehousing and all of this ludicrous stuff. I don't want free bus fare if it means that crime is going to go up on the streets. Oh yeah, for crime, you know what he wants to do for crime? He wants to have not police. He wants not police, just like we see in the Pacific Northwest. He wants community, groups to deal with the root causes of crime and blah, 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 blah. Total garbage. We know from the tenure of Rudy Giuliani, who was the best mayor the city ever had, that you need to crack down on crime. And once you crack down on crime, you make the streets safe. And then you bring in someone like Michael Bloomberg to pump a bunch of money in there. And so I think Bloomberg's endorsement indicates that he thinks Cuomo will be a little combo of both Giuliani and Bloomberg, which is the best thing the city could possibly hope for. Cuomo has a terrible track record on COVID. That was a complete disaster. Everybody knows it. and he says he was following the Trump administration's guidelines, and those guidelines were changing. No one knew what was going on. Maybe it was going to be the apocalypse and the end of the world. And sure, he did a crap job with the nursing homes. Everybody knows that.
Yes.
But as far as the sexual harassment stuff and the sex pest stuff, that was brought by Tish James. And everyone in America should know, never mind New York City, that Tish James is a liar and a cheat who goes after people for political reasons. And the only reason they went after Cuomo was so they could install Kathy Hochul to be the unelected governor of New York. And she's terrible. She's terrible, Riley. She's so bad. Between the two of them, I would love to see Cuomo in a position of power just to smack back.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Letitia James, because it's hard to think of someone who's more corrupt than her in that state, truly. And what she did to Trump with that ridiculous suit is just, it was lawfare, textbook, plain and simple. But final question for you then. What do you think about Adams and his chances in this race?
Adams blew it, which is too bad. When I was in New York City, and I was a registered Democrat, because you have to be, because that's the only race that matters. I mean, whoever wins the Democratic primary, that's going to be your mayor. So if you want to vote, you got to go in there. Adams was the most conservative guy on the ticket at the time, other than Curtis Sliwa, who never had a chance. And he went in, he got a lot of support from the outer boroughs, people who wanted safe streets, who wanted decent subways, who wanted all the quality of life things, which is what New Yorkers care about. That's what New Yorkers care about, quality of life. But he screwed up, and the way he screwed up was not just taking bribes, which it looks like he did, but taking them for cheap. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a good look. Like, you're taking bribes for what? For airfare on Turkish Airlines? Nice hotel rooms? Come on, Eric. This is a bad move. So yeah, and then he had to play ball with Trump. What would have been a lot stronger is not take the bribes and then play ball with Trump and then deal with illegal immigration on solid foundation, instead of making it look like you're just a sellout for cheap and then a sellout to the feds, which in New York City, no one likes a sellout to the feds.
Well said. Great argument there. So Libby, thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Riley.